Wow, what an honor to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Yodaly, like the painter Dali, but Dali. And I wanted to do something that is without the slides. So probably we can turn this off so we don't do PowerPoints. Yeah, perfect. In fact, we are going to start in a journey of imagination. I would please ask you to close your eyes. Even if you're watching us on the internet, I must be to please close your eyes. Come on, it's a good exercise. I want you to think what profession you wanted to be when you were a child. I wanted to be a vet, okay? Now think other profession that when you were getting older, you wanted to be. I wanted to be also an astronaut. And then also I wanted to be an ambassador of Earth. Now, think what job we can combine all those dreams professions into a real one of today. Be realistic. In my case, I will have to be a vet in Mars trying to do something with something. It's impossible. Open your eyes. Come. So one of the hardest things about following our dream jobs is that they're very difficult to make. Either they don't make enough money, they don't exist, or simply they're just so difficult to find. And as part of my career, one of the things I realized is that even despite the things I like the most, my career path was not taking me to them. So I was having those types of jobs that I was just like hoping for lunchtime. I hope my Friday is going to be good. And I kept reading things like, make sure that a good job doesn't feel like a job. And that sounds like an Instagram post, very chic. But in reality, is that you have to make your own job. You have to make your own career. You have to mix both your profession and all your desires into what makes you unique. And I think that's the hardest part. When you are talking about the art of sweet spots, is finding that something, the middle ground that has a balance in between your desires. And are you familiar with Goldilocks? Goldilocks and the three bears, and then she goes and she tries to eat 3 soups, one is too hot, one is too cold, one is just right. And 3 beds, one is too hard, one is too soft, one is just right. And sometimes when you're trying to do this applied to jobs, it doesn't really work because then you're just like work hopping and job hopping and trying to see what actually fits you the most. And at the end, your career starts to be not very linear. And I think with Goldilocks sweet spots, it's a fallacy. If you think about it, a true sweet spot, it will not be the best soup or the best bed or the best whatever. It should be something that Goldilocks should have been made up. She should have been created, should have been going to another profession or going to another dream or going to another job or going to another something. She shouldn't have taken something that was tailored for someone else. So when you are trying to build let's say like the pathway to your dreams, the most important part is knowing that there is not a pathway. And it's super hard. Nobody tells you that. Especially me, I didn't know I wanted to be a founder, and I created a fintech. And now almost everything is a fintech. But in order to actually make the process of creating a fintech that had all my values combining, let's say, like sustainability and combining finance and combining things that motivate others, it was probably a really tough path because there was not a clear like structure that all these programs for founders, they help you. And I was studying finance and business, and I was trying to follow all these guidelines. And to be fair, none of them really fits. I think one of the hardest challenges, especially is when you're trying to build something on your own, it's very expensive. People don't believe you. And it's too much work, and sometimes you make no money. So how can you create like this journey that has like this convergence or convergence of things that you will like to do as a job that has to feel like a job, but at the same time that you have the values associated with them, and it has the fun part. It has money as well. One of the things that I found in my journey of entrepreneurship was the concept of sustainable capitalism, which is almost like an oxymoron because sustainability and spending things, that doesn't make any sense, right? But in the journey of trying to find my own personal sweet spot, I had to come up with my own personal terms. And with sustainable capitalism, it took me to this path where I was able to tell people, look, even if you want to spend your money as you should be, you should understand the impact or the environmental impact that those purchases have on your personal level. And when I was just breaking ground on basically like payments and finance related to consumer emissions, I was realizing that, hold on, not many people have done this before. So I had to convince my mom, I had to convince investors, I had to convince my parents, I had to convince myself. And I kept thinking about this Goldilocks situation because at some point you want to just go into like a safe ground and say, look, this is just right for me and I'm happy and I want to stay here. But in reality, the journey goes beyond that because the process to be, let's say, either entrepreneur, but it's not for everybody, or a professional, or artist, is going to be completely different for each one of them. I was reading about longevity quite a lot, and apparently now, but we're going to live around 87, almost 90. We have to change our career at least 3 times in our lives, which means I still can become, if I want to, an astronaut, because I'm going to have at least 35 years, so I can go to university and repurpose my career again. And because I'm still going to have enough, let's say, energy when I'm around, let's say, 60, I can go and study veterinary because I still have the time, I have the stamina, I have the strength, I feel good, I feel young. And at the end, probably I'll become something else. But one of the interesting things is because now the pension systems are changing into that we, all of us here, we young generation, we're going to get a pension maybe when we are 80, and eventually it's going to change, which sounds a bit unusual, right? That means I will have to find my sweet spots of things that I like at least 3 times in my life. Think about it. The journey is not just one single journey of one single maybe company or one single investment or one single profession. Is I want to plan for my future self career, my future generation, my future me. I will not be able to have a pension as a traditional one like our grandparents used to have, that they work very safely until like they're 62, I think it was. Bismarck, I think he came up with the idea that if you pay to the people from 65 onwards, then there is a pension. What he was not expecting is that people live longer than 65. Now we're living up to like 90. That means there is going to be a gap for sure in the market. So all of us will have to work. And one of the biggest challenges is that you're thinking, hold on, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a lawyer, and I want to have a very stable career. And then when you're at a point of your life that you have been a lawyer for 50 years, you say, I always like gardening. And you say, the dream is just to retire and become a gardener. But then you realize you can't retire. You're too young to retire. You're only 65. You have to continue working. So now, eventually, you will have to be able to do something that relates to gardening and law. Law for gardeners. Adam. But then, you're 75. And you have to repurpose yourself. Maybe now you like baking. So now you have to do law for gardeners and chefs. And the evolution is going to happen with each one of your careers because we're going to have enough time, right? If we don't die beforehand, which I doubt because longevity is going a long way. that we're going to be able to repurpose ourselves to the journey that is going to be for our future 85-year-old self. And one of the things that I like the most is it gives me a little bit of peace, you know? If I have failed many times until now, it's okay, because I'm going to fail many times more in the future. And because I'm taking the journey that is like the most difficult, right? It's not like you're going to do one thing, you're going to then go to a manager, and then you're going to do president, then you're going to do la la la. In fact, you're just like going through the journey where you have chosen to be, because you believe in the values, you believe in the money, you believe in the process, you believe in yourself, and it's aligned with your expectations. So, one last message that I want to give to you. The career that we're all going to have ahead is going to change for even professions you don't know they existed. So don't be afraid to create your own professions. I created mine. I didn't know I was going to be now a fintech founder, and I'm also a university lecturer, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be a bank. But one of the advantages is that it creates a purpose, and it gives me peace that eventually I will be able to repurpose my career over and over and over into something that at the end, before I die, I say, you know what? I had several sweet spots. I'm happy. And I hope all of you, like when you're going to your imagination journey, it doesn't stay on a dream, because those dreams can still be achieved. Even if it's crazier, that those can still be achieved. Maybe not in the next 20 years, but for sure in the next maybe 45 or 50. So don't despair. Enjoy your sweet spots. Thank you so much.